vice around your neck and sent you to within exactly 60 minutes. You are my unwilling participants in a race for your life.
Why are you doing this?
My name is Mr. Frank.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
On your mark. Get set. Release the free runners!
Hello, welcome to the Bargain Bin B-Movie Booze Review. I'm Gary Anderson and I'm here with Neil Young. Hello Neil.
Hello there.
Hiya. So what is this show all about, Neil?
Well, we basically raid the bargain bins in all your good supermarkets and pick up possibly the naffest movies you could ever find, watch them and then rant about them in terms of how many pints you would have to enjoy to make these movies almost as enjoyable as the night you've just had.
Yep, we basically watch these films so you don't have to and let you know how trolleyed you need to get so you can actually enjoy them. So this week, without further ado, we'll introduce Free Runner, starring the legendary Danny Dyer. On the back it says, Ryan is a free runner who will do whatever it takes to break free from the vicious mobsters who control a band of street racers. They run for the rush and for the money, but now they're running for their lives in the ultimate death race. That sounds compelling. Who's this one like then? The main star we have in this one, we have Sean Faris, who you'll remember from that classic film Never Back Down. It's an absolute belter, but really this one's all about the performance of Danny Dyer. Since the heady heights of The Football Factory and The Business, both Danny Dyer and his co-star in this one, Tamer Hassan, well, they've really went on just to start in any old nonsense. They still make a lot of films, but basically they've become a bit of a genre in themselves, a bit of a parody of themselves, I would say. Dyer playing the villain in this one, Mr. Flank. I've never seen anybody ham it up quite so bad. He's like a pantomime villain, and to be honest, if he continues making films like this, pantomime can't be too far away for him.
The Danny Dyer as a hard man, there's a severe lack of believability in that, and when he's barking out orders, I can't help but think that his muscly accomplice would just tell him to beat it.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd phenomenon. I mean, since he showed so much promise in Human Traffic, and that was way back in 1999, Danny Dyer, right, he's become the byword for low-budget, no-quality Brit trash cinema. Neil, you've met Danny Dyer. What was he like in person?
I have met Danny Dyer, and if I could be completely honest, he's almost as obnoxious in person as he is on screen. But equally, you can't help but love him.
Is he a geezer, though?
He is a bit.
A genuine geezer?
There were more than a few swear words uttered in just a brief meeting.
It's strange, he's got this tendency to just knock out films with such frequency that he makes Nicolas Cage look like Joe Pesci. Remember him? I mean, Dyer, he's made almost 30 films since 2004. So quality control's clearly just gone out the window there.
I'll be honest, I agree.
He's become this sort of crazy micro-genre in himself. People still do buy into it. If you go to Morrisons, the budget DVD shelf at Morrisons, that will always be his home, I think. There's lots of DVDs there with Danny Dyer's mug plastered all over them. And even on the front cover of this DVD, you noted yourself, Neil. Well, what's on the cover here? Try and describe that.
If I could be honest, it's Tamer Hassan and Danny Dyer holding the biggest, most badass guns I think I've ever seen. These are the kind of guns that Starship Troopers and Alien would be envious of. The funny thing being that I'm not sure if either one of them ever really holds a gun in the whole movie.
Yeah, speaking of Hassan, Tamer Hassan too, far too many occasions, he seems to be Dyer's willing accomplice. You know, he's travel companion on this shoddy slide into mediocrity. And in this one, it's hard to take Danny Dyer as the crime kingpin and Tamer Hassan as his flunky. Really, you kind of rather see it the other way around.
As you say, Tamer Hassan, who's, a good bit older than Danny Dyer, he's I won't even say slightly heavier built. He's a bigger guy, definitely, and
he could have him. He could have him.
Definitely have him. So there's no, unless Danny Dyer is then an intellectual genius and a criminal mastermind, which I think is even more unbelievable than him being a great fighter.
I can't really take him seriously as a criminal mastermind. It does. Have you seen his UFO documentary?
I have, yes. And, he is. Apparently, he's now a believer.
Say no more.
I'm not really a believer in him. To be honest.
So this was directed by a fellow named Lawrence Silverstein. This was his first directing job, and I think you'll agree, Neil, that it shows. His previous claim to fame, he wrote the DTV classic The Cell Part 2. Do you remember The Cell Part 1?
I don't actually. That
was on with Jennifer Lopez in it.
Yes, I do remember that now. Yes, in fact, was she not in some lycra for most of that film?
Yeah, that's probably the best thing about that film. So I don't think there was ever really a clamour for a sequel to that one, but never mind. Lawrence Silverstein, he's directed this film. What's it about? It's about these chaps. They kick about the fictional metro city doing a bit of parkour, and they've got these collars attached to their neck, and if they don't get to a certain place in an hour, then their heads are going to blow up.
I like that concept. It's, as you mentioned, it's a little bit like Running Man, but with
like the Running Man with a bunch of blokes jumping off walls for no reason. What is parkour? Wikipedia, I've checked, it says here parkour is a physical discipline and non-competitive activity which focuses on efficient movement around obstacles. A lot of the stunts are quite cool. Yeah, it is the sort of film where there's bystanders who, for whatever reason, are completely oblivious to the 8 spiky-haired idiots running towards them. They will just stop to bend down and tie their shoelaces so that somebody can do a pointless somersault over them.
And obviously there's cars that are parked strategically to allow some dafty to perform a forward roll or slide over the bonnet, when, let's be honest, it would be far quicker if he just kept running.
It's a race for your life. That's just time wasting. I don't know how you feel. I felt like the director kind of ruined it all with this insistence on using like the shaky cam. What did you think about that?
I'll be honest, I agree wholeheartedly with you. For some of the stunts, because these 8 guys they're all supposed to be running really quickly and performing all these tricks, with the shaky cam, it just made me feel a little bit nauseous. There was quite a few times where I kind of thought, oh no, just let me watch this. Just let me watch this from a distance. But no, I agree, and it looked a bit childish at times.
Sometimes in films that stuff can work kind of really well, and like the Bourne films, I found that worked really well, but this one just gave me a sore head, you're right. And it doesn't help that you've got these guys doing like death-defying stunts, and they're jumping off walls and doing backflips and stuff, and the director's cutting all over the place, so you can't even really work out what it is they're doing. District 13, the French movie, that did this sort of stuff much better. So if you're a fan of free running, I would definitely go and check that one out.
I think if you're to compare, to even mention District 13 in the same breath as this is a bit like comparing Sunday Pub League football to Barcelona.
And District 13, for one, even though it was in French, I could still tell that those boys were much better actors than anyone involved in this rubbish. Let's have a wee word about Sean Faris, who plays the main chap in this. Are you familiar with his work?
Can I be honest? I have seen Never Back Down.
I've seen it, yeah. I thought it was alright.
Didn't really
solid.
Enjoy it. But I've seen Sean Faris in a film about rugby.
No way.
In a film about rugby.
The main rugby movies.
It's an American rugby film where apparently rugby is very, very popular, and he plays for a college team who apparently have roots in New Zealand, and so they perform the haka before the matches.
You've got to get the haka in there.
And it's actually not bad. It's kind of quite a good film, as long as you can get around the fact that there's Americans performing an ancient tribal dance that's completely sacred in New Zealand. But once you get past that, it's actually quite good. So I'm familiar with Sean Faris from that, and preferred him in that to Never Back Down. But this is maybe a step closer to soap opera for him.
Well, I've only seen him in Never Back Down, and I thought that was alright, really. It's got Amber Heard in it, which is always good. I thought he was solid enough. It was like a UFC Karate Kid. Oh, I meant to mention, did you hear about that? And apparently this Sean Faris character is going to be the new Ferris Bueller.
I think that is a disastrous appointment, and quite worrying. That's going to ruin my dreams for the next few weeks. It's either going to be an absolute masterstroke, or it will kill any joy that Bueller fans have had.
I bet you would have enjoyed the new Ferris Bueller much more if you hadn't seen this.
Definitely.
Yeah, in this he's like everyone else in it. He's in Free Runner. He's very wooden. Seems to me like he's just reading his lines straight off the page. Any sort of charisma we've seen him have in any other film, it's like it's disappeared. It's like he's not even trying, I would say.
There isn't any room within the film for any depth with any of the characters at all. All backstory is given to us, quite blatantly through the script. So there's no room for any. There's nothing for us to work out. There's nothing for us to develop with the character. And I'll be honest, when he was jumping off buildings and jumping through traffic, I had no emotional attachment, so wouldn't have minded if he'd fallen flat on his face, fallen 20 stories.
But enough about him. What else does this film have to offer? This is the sort of film that's got loads of topless birds just kind of kicking about in the background, as you do in these films. Danny Dyer seems to be surrounded by gorgeous topless birds all the time, even though he's sitting there pushing buttons that make people's heads blow up, proving that women really do love a bastard, I suppose.
One thing I did like about the film is that the evolution in technology is that the button to activate these colours is basically an app for an iPhone. I did like that. I
look forward to that one.
Wasn't lost.
I don't know, we may be inadvertently making this film sound great, but honestly it's not.
It's really not. If through this conversation you think that actually sounds like a decent watch, don't. You're wrong. Definitely wrong.
There is so much of this film it does not make sense. Like the whole thing, they've got 60 minutes to get to a certain point before their head explodes. Now, if you're in that situation, if you're in a car, why the hell would you get out? Unless that car is on fire, why would you get out of the car? There was that one scene where his girlfriend's giving him a lift, and he decides to jump out of the car, and he goes, baby, I gotta go, I gotta run. And she turns to him and goes, wait, I'm not in any hurry, I'll give you a lift. And he goes, oh, okay. Who wrote this script?
And I love the fact that there's a video camera feed on the brace, on the necklace, on the
collar. The collar, yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
The collar.
There's a video receiver on the collar, and they can hear everything they're saying. That doesn't stop Sean Faris talking about his plan to overthrow the whole game to his girlfriend and giving her details of this plan whilst wearing the collar. So, as you say, who wrote the script? Because it doesn't really make any sense.
Oh, I think before we move on, we should really talk about some of the hilarious dialogue in this film. One of my favourite lines was when Hassan's got our main man hung off the side of a building, and he says, "Free run your way out of this." To which the main man replies, "I always do." Classic stuff. What was your favourite line in this movie?
There were. I can't even say there were so many. Some of it was completely ludicrous.
What about the part that this is where someone shouts out, "It's not a race." Clearly it is a race. They refer to it as the ultimate death race. Somebody decides to say, it's not a race. Yes, it is. It is a race, and the loser dies.
I'm really struggling. I think it's the Danny Dyer's start for the whole competition.
Oh, of course.
Is unbelievable.
Would that be release the free runners?
Yep. Free runners spelled with an A at the end.
Oh yes.
Free runner.
It was a dog's dinner of a film. I've seen worse, I suppose. It was frantically paced. It was quite exciting at times, I suppose, if you could work out what was actually going on. There was quite a lot of silly, inventive ideas, with the usual obligatory rap rock soundtrack over the top. You've got to have that just to show that your film is truly extreme. I think it's the sort of film that will definitely improve the drunker you get. Luckily, it's so cheap that you could probably get a 6-pack and this DVD for under a tenner from Morrisons, so it's not all bad.
That's the only thing that makes this worth it. Definitely the only thing that would make this film worthwhile is if you were able to buy it using the change in your pocket.
So what's your beer rating for this one? How many pints would you need to have to enjoy Free Runner?
I think Free Runner would be a 10-pint movie.
A 10-pinter?
A 10-pinter, really.
Oh dear, oh dear.
It is that bad. I think I will need to give it a second watch after 10 pints. I may have to change that.
That could be something else.
Yeah, that may be negotiable.
We can get the beers in after this. So it is not, as the tagline reads, the ultimate death race then. No, that would be the film Death Race, starring Jason Statham.
Ah, a proper action man.
Yes, or Death Race 2 would have been more ultimate than this. Which actually brings us up very nicely to the film we'll be talking about next week, which is Blood Out. That's right, Blood Out, and that stars Luke Goss, the Bros man, who was also the star there in Death Race 2. So hopefully you'll tune back in next week, and I think I'll let the brothers Goss sing us out, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks very much, I hope you enjoyed the show. Go and get yourself some beers.
Free runner!
Ta-ta!
When will I be fair?